I have interviewed a lot of writers over the last 15 years, and it is not unusual for me to hear this story. The author in question was always loved to write since they were young, but they got to college and while they took a creative writing class or two, they ultimately chose a different career path. Often, lawyer was a common one, but maybe they went into business, maybe they went to marketing or journalism or teaching. And I'd sometimes ask, well, why'd you make that choice if you loved writing so much? And the answer is pretty much always the same, almost always the same: money, practicality. Writing seemed impractical. How is this going to work? How are you going to make your way in the world? These writers know if they get a law degree, work and money in particular was waiting for them. They get a degree in creative writing, what's waiting for them? Maybe teaching, maybe. But writing, what they really want is to earn their living writing their stories. And there's no guaranteed, there is no clear path for doing that. And so in this way, writing seemed impractical to them until, of course, the desire to write became so strong, never went away, that they found a way to do it. Maybe they reached an age where they could retire, or maybe they snuck it in on the weekends. Somehow or another, they answered the call and they started writing, and one thing led to another. I understand practicality. When I was 18, I went to college and I knew I wanted to be a creative writer, but I thought, I don't know how that's going to work. So let me get a job as a journalist. I thought that was my plan. That seemed like a practical choice. And I will work as a journalist. I'll be writing, doing my thing, but I'll write my books on the side. I'll make a living. It'll be great. And so I went to college my freshman year and I took a journalism class. I was writing for the paper. I started writing for the school paper. And I took this journalism class. And I remember sitting in the class, the journalism class, and this was second semester. And the teacher, who was a professional journalist herself at a local Long Island newspaper, was teaching about research and about sources and about this, that, and the other thing. And as I listened to what it sounded like to be a journalist and how you wrote your stories, I began to get a funny feeling in my heart. And then she said, okay, I want you all to go out and get a story. She gave an assignment to us. You're going to go out into the college, onto the campus, and research a story and write it and bring it back. And I left that classroom, went out to the bursar's office, dropped that class, and also my journalism major. Because you see, as practical as a choice, as practical as that choice to be a journalist seemed, it didn't look like any fun to me. I didn't want to do it. I wanted to write creatively. And so that's what I did, starting from that point on. Eventually, when I was 25, I started writing fiction. I did this because it seemed like the best choice to make for a writer. It was what I'd seen people do. It's what I read. And it seemed like if you're going to make a living as a writer and you don't want to be a screenwriter, I knew I wanted to write prose. Fiction made sense. The problem was that I really didn't have a story in mind, nor did I have a burning desire to write fiction. I did want to write. I did want to tell stories. I did want to inspire and to write something connected and enlivening. But I didn't really have a story I wanted to write. But this did not stop me from harnessing my imagination and saying to my imagination, write fiction, do it, which I did for about 20 years until the pain of trying to make myself do something I didn't really love doing became just too great. And I asked myself the question, if you could do anything, write anything, regardless of whether it got published, what would it be? And the answer was not fiction. It was what I do now. The most practical choice you can ever make as a person is to do the thing you love, because the thing you love isn't going away. It's not going to stop. If you get bit by the writing bug, it's over. You're bit. Somehow or another, you're going to have to do it. And whether it's poetry or suspense or romance or screenplays or sketch comedy, doesn't matter. The thing you love to do is so close to who you are, it can't really be removed like a hat or a shirt. And so you really have no choice but to follow it at some point. You may not do it when you're 17 or 18. You may have to wait till you're 30 or 40 or 50, but it ain't going away. And try as you may to be someone you are not, write something you don't want to write, something you don't love, you will never really succeed. You will never succeed in being someone who you aren't. I don't know how you can. The only thing you will ever succeed in being is who you are. And if you want to know who you are, ask what you're interested in. And even if you don't know how you're going to make a living doing it, even if you don't know how you're going to find success, that doesn't matter. You will learn that. But you already know who you are. You already know what you're interested in. And the most practical thing you can ever do is to say, what do I love to do? How can I do it? Let's find out what my path looks like as I follow it. Thanks for watching. As always, if you want to subscribe, do so you don't miss a dose. And if you like it, I encourage you to do that as well. That way your voice can be heard and other people can find it. So, till next week, this is Bill Kenower. Stay fearless.